Hey there, welcome back to the Moon Manifesting Podcast. It's Kyra. How are you this week? Hey there. Hope that you are all having an amazing week. So today I'm going to be talking about a bit of a hot topic in astrology right now, and that is Mars retrograde. So because I am a business astrologer, I'm going to be putting my own little business astrology spin on this, but also talking about Mars retrograde in a kind of general sense as well. So yeah, keep listening. You'll get what you need from this episode so that you can learn exactly how to navigate this kind of prickly time in astrology sort of weather. So yeah, Mars retrograde. Oh my goodness. So Mars retrograde, it doesn't happen very often. It only happens about every 2 years. So when it does happen, we often feel the effects quite a lot. So Mars retrograde often lasts about 9-10 weeks every 2 years. So Mars retrograde in 2022 through to 2023, yeah, it's that long, guys. It starts on the 31st of October 2022, and that's starting at 25 degrees and 37 minutes Gemini. So Mars is going to be going backwards through our skies until the 13th of January, where it's going to stop at about 8 degrees and 8 minutes Gemini. So what this means is that for those, I think it's 10 or 11 weeks or whatever that is, maybe a bit longer. What that means is it's because Mars is going retrograde through Gemini. Mars being the planet of drive and energy and motivation, and Gemini being the sign of communication and our social lives, we can find that we're not as motivated or driven to be more social and communicative, but we may also be quite frustrated and I feel like things aren't going to be moving as fast as we want them to move during that time. So I'm pretty much going to be telling you exactly what to do and what not to do during Mars retrograde in Gemini from 2022 through to January 2023. I hope I said that right before when I was saying when Mars retrograde is going to end. Okay, so yeah, Mars retrograde. Okay, so yeah, what generally happens when Mars is in retrograde is that we can feel quite frustrated. We can feel quite angry. Mars is a very sort of angry planet in astrology. Going back into mythology, Mars was the god of war. So in astrology, Mars does kind of represent that fierceness of a warrior. Like when Mars is going direct, they're very fast acting, very driven, very determined. But when Mars goes into retrograde, and all that retrograde means is that it appears to be traveling backwards through our skies from our perspective here on Earth. Like Mars isn't actually jumping around up there in space. It's just our perspective. But when Mars goes into retrograde, then our drive, our motivation, our physical energy, all that fierceness, it it's not that it goes backwards, but it's blocked. It's like it isn't being expressed in its most direct sense. So it can kind of become this internal sort of blockage there where we feel quite stuck, where we feel quite unmotivated, where we're just not feeling energetic on a physical level. We just don't have the energy for that stuff. And so with Mars going retrograde in Gemini, we just may not have the energy for going out and being social. And this is, occurring over Christmas and New Year's during 2022. So, this is often a time when we can feel quite social because, we're catching up with family and celebrating the end of the year and all that sort of thing. With Mars being in retrograde, though, there may be maybe like arguments or things like that kind of pop up, conflicts that may arise during that time. There may be like a misunderstanding with communication, remembering that Mars is retrograde in Gemini, all to do with communication. So yeah, we just need to be really careful that we're not speaking before we're thinking, that we're not rushing into things without thinking it through, and that we really just try to be patient with ourselves and with others, and that we're communicating our frustrations in a healthy way, rather than just like, bottling up all our anger and exploding, because, nobody wants that, okay? So let's go through exactly what to do and what not to do in Mars retrograde. Okay, so this is my do list, what to do in Mars retrograde. So first up, slow down. I feel like I say this like whenever a planet goes into retrograde and I'm like on here doing a podcast episode, I'm just like, slow down. Mercury's in retrograde, slow down. Venus in retrograde, slow down. Mars, yeah, slow down. But more importantly with Mars, because Mars, like I said, it's all to do with like our physical energy and like, going out and being motivated and doing stuff. So with Mars being in retrograde, we just really kind of need to slow down and not keep pushing forward and not doing all those things, because we can really get burnt out when we're just go, go, go all the time. This is a really good opportunity for you to take a break. If you're a workaholic, if you never take a break, Mars retrograde could be, a really good time to just be like, hey, I'm going to have a big break here now, guys. I'll see you in a few weeks. So slow down as best as you can during Mars retrograde. The other thing to do is to think before you act. So thinking things through rather than impulsively just, acting. So if you come up with an idea or, there's something that you're feeling called to do, just think it through rather than just acting on your impulses. So as I mentioned before, during Mars retrograde, we can often feel quite frustrated. We can feel angry. So finding some healthy outlets for that anger and frustration is going to be really important during Mars retrograde. My favorite ways to do this are journaling it down. You might find it like really helpful to do a burning ritual, which is where you write out, like you might write a really angry letter, like, you might be really angry at your boss or whoever. And so you might like write this really angry letter and like, swear at them and whatever, and then burn it. Just rip it up into pieces, burn it in your cauldron or chuck it in your fireplace or whatever. And, that can really help you release that anger in a healthy outlet, and it can make you feel so much better, and just release it. Just get off your chest so that you're not bottling all that anger in. And even if that person that you were writing that angry letter to, even if they, never know that you were so angry or whatever, that's fine. It's all about you and your energy. And, sometimes, they don't need to know. It's just about us being able to get that anger out, get that energy out in a safe way without necessarily hurting other people, hurting their feelings, or, whatever it might be. So another way that you can release that energy is through yoga. Yoga is like the perfect thing to do during Mars retrograde because it's going to help you slow down. That was like the first thing we talked about, right? Was slow down during Mars retrograde. But because it's also like moving your body, you're releasing energy. When we hold on to emotions, so if you're holding on to that frustration or anger or whatever it might be, when you're moving your body, you're releasing that and you're releasing that energy. So yoga is, my top recommendation for Mars retrograde. If you have that energy, you need to shift, frustration, you need to release, go do some yoga. It will help, I promise. So the other thing to do is to talk it through. So if there's stuff that's on your mind, maybe you're worried about something, maybe you're feeling quite upset about something, or whatever it is, talk about it. Mars being retrograde in Gemini is like, that perfect energy for talking talking about your frustrations, talking about your anger. This could be a really good time to go get some anger management counseling if that's something that, has come up for you that you might need help with. If there are like other things like, maybe going to counseling or, just phoning a friend, it can be really helpful to just talk about it rather than bottling up that frustration and feeling really stuck and trapped. Okay, so those are the things to do during Mars retrograde. I've given you a nice, beautiful little list there. I hope that some of those things really resonated with you. So some things not to do during Mars retrograde. 1, don't act impulsively. Just don't do it. Think it through first. Just don't, do something out of impulses, because often when Mars is in retrograde, our impulses, they may not always lead us down that right path because it's, the energy isn't going smoothly. It's not flowing directly. Don't act impulsively while Mars is in retrograde. And don't react and pick fights. If you're feeling triggered, don't react to it. Like, just take a few deep breaths, do some journaling about it, think it through. You don't need to react to other people's stuff. You don't need to pick fights with them. I feel like Mars retrograde is often a time, when these arguments can pop up because there is like this clash of ideas, especially with this Gemini energy, or words, hurtful words are being spoken. So, just don't react to it. Just, come back to yourself, take a few deep breaths, and, just recognize when you are being triggered, and so that you're not just reacting to that. Okay, so another thing not to do is try not to rush, because when we're rushing, things, it's not the best thing to do at the best of times, but especially during Mars retrograde, because you're really going to be fighting like an uphill battle during Mars retrograde if you're trying to rush. Okay, things are really going to happen a lot slowly during Mars retrograde. So just avoid trying to rush, avoid trying to get things done too quickly, allow ample time for different things that need to happen. Don't underestimate how much time you need to set aside to do something. Try not to rush through it. And finally, my last little bit of advice for what not to do during Mars retrograde is don't overwork yourself. Often, we're so driven, we're so ambitious and passionate about what we're doing that we just want to work. That's definitely me. I don't know if anyone else can relate. But Mars retrograde is a really good opportunity to, kind of look at where you are pushing yourself and being too ambitious, and maybe just, taking a little step back, reflecting and reviewing and, looking back on how far you've come rather than always trying to strive for more. Because if you're like me and you're like, a bit of an overachiever, like you finish one goal and you're just like, tick, okay, what's next? And you just keep going without really taking that time to, appreciate the hard work that you've done and that you've actually brought something to completion. Mars retrograde is a really good time to just, chill for a bit instead of rushing into the next thing. Appreciate how far you've come and celebrate. Gemini is a really kind of party energy. So Mars in retrograde in Gemini can be a really good time to slow down, relax, and celebrate your achievements, celebrate how far you've come, and share that with others as well. Tell others I've had a really successful year. Here's what I've accomplished. Rather than, just jumping onto the next goal, because I'm really guilty of that. I really am. Okay, so I hope that this episode has been really helpful to help you navigate Mars retrograde in 2022, moving into 2023. Thank goodness it only comes around every 2 years. And yeah, next retrograde is, I haven't exactly checked the dates, but it will be late 2024. So yeah, we can breathe for a bit before the next Mars retrograde. So yeah, just remember, take things slow, don't rush into things, and think before you act. Take this time to reflect and yeah, you know, celebrate how far you've come, because you've achieved so many things this year already, and now it's time to rest. So I hope that was helpful. I am going to go now and stop talking about Mars retrograde. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and maybe even leave a review. And stay magical, stay manifesting, and stay tuned. I'll be back soon with a new episode. Bye.